Hey there! In this video, we'll be giving you an overview of the next evolution of Distro, which we're calling Distro Fire, Chili Piper's incredibly advanced lead routing and distribution tool, helping you route to the right rep every time and never letting a lead slip through the cracks. We've spent a bunch of time listening to our customers' feedback and improving the way Distro looks and functions to help you simplify your lead routing and distribution process with powerful new features and customizations. First, let's talk about team members. If I want to add additional team members to a specific team within Distro, I can click on Add New Team Members here, and then select them from the list on the right-hand side, and then they will be added to the bottom of the list. But if I want to reorder this list, I can now select here and reorder the team however I'd like. This is important because if I have a route that resets monthly, that route will naturally work its way down from the top of the list. So for example, I may want to reorder the team if someone got fewer meetings than others last month. We've also added multi-select options within the teams to easily remove more than one person at a time from the team. Now let's publish these changes and move on to the exciting brand new visual rule builder. We've redesigned the rule builder within Distro from the ground up, giving you the tools to build some of the most powerful routing rules while still being able to visually see exactly how the rule logic will flow and why. I can easily add as many rule conditions as I'd like, but now I can take them to the next level with rule groupings and subgroupings, unlocking new tools for you to get as advanced as you'd like with these new routing rules. Also, there are more clear visuals for the and or operators that can easily be changed with just one click. And of course, I can also easily edit or remove any of these rules to get my rule logic just right. Moving on to assignment rule sets, this is really where the things we've just built within the rules and team sections come together to create powerful groups of routes and steps to eventually be used within your Distro Fire router or your other Chili Piper products. So at the top, I have the rule that is currently being used, and if this rule is marked as true or matches, then it will be routed to the team listed below. You can of course add more rule sets and build out as many as you'd like, but now it's time to put all of these powerful steps together inside the Distro Fire router. Inside the router, the first thing I see in the top left is the trigger for this router, which will trigger exactly when and what action needs to be taken. When it comes to what action it takes, there are two options. One option is to trigger based on a new record being created. So if any of these objects are created, then that would trigger the router. Or the trigger can be based on a field updating. So for example, within a specific object, if there's an update to a field like account type, then that would trigger the router as well. After that is trigger event conditions, which tells Distro what a specific change to the account type field contextually means, not just if there was a change at all. So for example, if I wanted it to specifically look for account type needs to be blank, then I can select a rule which would look for that specific condition. After that is trigger delay, which allows me to set a delay before or after routing happens, which allows you to account for other processes that need to be run before or after there is an update. Now, when it comes to handling records in a round-robin process, Distro empowers you to maintain the round-robin fairness your hardworking team expects and deserves. I can manage that by clicking on Fairness, and then I can see how many records have been routed to each team member, and I can manage their individual weight directly within the router. Below that is the action section, which is where I can set up a certain action to take place after a route has happened. So for example, I can have Distro update the ownership. So if there's an account, then I can have it update the owner ID to the assignee email address and to whoever it was routed to. Finally, I can add an SLA or service level agreement, which are separate actions that take place after the route has happened. So for example, after 20 seconds, I could have a Slack message sent, I could send a reminder to the assignee in an email, I could reassign the record, or I could update a field in Salesforce. And you can build out as many SLAs as you need to support this specific assignment rule set grouping, which gives you endless ways to create your ideal routing process. Let's quickly move over to the logs section. Logs within Distro are where I can get full visibility into exactly when, where, and why my routes are happening. I can also open up an individual route to get a closer look at it, maybe debug it, or better understand exactly what happened within a specific route. We're also extremely excited to introduce distribution reporting within Distro to give you and your admins new levels of insights and to show you exactly how the records that are being routed are getting to the team. Here you can see the assignment rule sets, the rules within them, and the teams that are routed through with those rules. If I want to view a rule in more detail, I can click View, and then this will show me how many records were routed within this rule, and what round-robin weight was applied to each individual person. All of this allows you to dive even deeper into the visibility of what's happening between the different rule sets and who's receiving the rules. The last thing that we'll cover in this overview of Distro Fire is the brand new distribution settings. If you're familiar with the distribution settings within Chili Piper's Form Concierge, then you'll be happy to see that we brought all these incredibly powerful settings over to Distro Fire as well. The first thing at the top is vacation adjustment. So for example, let's say I'm on a team that is actively getting leads routed to them, but then one day I plan to go on vacation. While I'm out, the other team members may receive more leads than normal, so that means when I'm back, I'll be behind on the number of leads routed to me. Vacation adjustment allows me to either make up the number of leads that I missed while I was gone, or I can simply maintain my position in the round robin without sending me more leads, depending on the organization or team's preferences for how vacations are handled. Vacation buffer allows me to simply create a buffer before or after my vacation to add an extra layer of protection from leads slipping through the cracks. So for example, if I'm going on vacation on a Monday, I could set a buffer to stop sending me leads on a Friday that otherwise wouldn't be followed up on while I'm away. On the other hand, I could create a buffer to start sending me leads the day before I return to set me up for a win and hit the ground running right away. And finally, distribution cycle is a completely new feature that we're so excited about. Before in Distro, the distribution was reset monthly by default and you were not able to customize this. Now, in addition to resetting monthly, you can choose quarterly. And we've also added a time zone selection to give you even more granular control for when exactly the distribution cycle resets, so you can take your team's region into account. We are so excited about this next evolution of lead routing and distribution with Distro Fire, and all of the incredibly powerful new features and improvements built to help you route to the right rep every time and never let a lead slip through the cracks. We can't wait for our new and existing customers to get their hands on Distro Fire, so head to chilipiper.com and get a demo today.